One of the fascinating things about the internet is how much you do and don't learn. What I mean by this is in general, don't spend a lot of time on the internet, especially not compared to most people. But in the limited time that I do spend on the internet, I consider it unfortunate. Very routinely and consistently, I notice more and more that this incredible tool, this blessing, this feat of technology is just abused, manipulated, and wasted at the end of the day. What I mean by this is consider your day to day. Think about how you use your computer, your phone, the internet in general. Are we doom scrolling? Are we posting on Twitter every 5 minutes? Are we finding the next post that someone else had so that we can put our 2 cents on there that's something negative or non-constructive or whatever it may be? It's like we've created something that is encouraging people to waste their life. And now it's filtering down to the point of where adults, parents, are just handing something like this to children, to an infant, to a kid. And it's, a distraction. It's a way to get them to stop doing that thing that we don't want them to do. Now think about this for a second. From being on the internet, what have you learned? In terms of the sites you visit, in terms of the posts that are made, whatever it is, what have you learned that to you is presently just intrinsic? Just makes sense. It's just a no-brainer of traveling on the internet. There are children on the internet that do not have that guidance, that have never been told that have never been taught how to safely utilize this incredible tool. I'm bringing this up and I'm trying to spark a conversation around this because think about the next post that you see on the internet. Let's think about the memes and everything else that circulate and just fly everywhere, snap of your fingers. Now imagine that a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old is seeing that. They don't understand the magnitude. They don't understand the significance of what the internet is. They don't understand how large it is. I'm willing to bet that most individuals who will ever hear this will not truly begin to comprehend the magnitude and size of the internet. And a decimal of a decimal is actually probably beneficial or useful. The rest of it is just pointless. I've unfortunately heard from friends recently and learned about people called lolcows, which are just the only way that I can think to describe them is imbecilic individuals who the only reason they have any level of traction is because people find it phenomenal to laugh at their incompetence. Why is that even allowed on a platform? In some circumstances, yes, I get it, someone makes a post and it's supposed to be satire. Does a 4-year-old understand what satire is? In one capacity or another, that 4-year-old, that 5-year-old who is on the internet doing these things, they are learning. That is what we do every second as we're awake, as we take in information, as we put it back out. We are learning. What lessons do we actually want to teach? We're idolizing and encouraging and elevating individuals who do something silly or, flail their body around and call it a dance or whatever it is, and this is what we idolize and encourage. At the end of the day, this is one of those things that bothers me because of this age, because of how accessible this is now. And it's only being pushed younger and younger. It's being encouraged to a greater and greater capacity. Because on the other edge of that sword, someone's making money off of it. You can't make more money and grow exponentially from a linear and consistent growth of individuals. Everything that you see on the internet right now, unless you're, the top 1%, the top 0.1%, unless you listening to this right now are all the way up here, everyone else on the internet is just, we're a playground. We're a test for whatever's going to come next. And I hope more people have made this connection. We're calling it Gen Alpha. Alpha, Beta, Final. Give it 3 generations. I'll say it right now. Give it 3 generations, and we are going to be in this cycle of reproduction for the purpose of money. That, at the end of the day, that's what it is. We are converting human life. We are converting energy into money. And I'm sorry, but money is the biggest lie. It's just, it doesn't mean anything. And I don't know how many people understand that or not. Replace a dollar bill, replace a $5 bill, $20 bill, $100 bill, any value, right? Replace it with anything else that we see, right? Let's say that currency, instead of being a dollar bill and going off of a gold standard, and I'm going to use this example because it's simple to understand. Let's say that diamonds are as common as money. Every single diamond that is found, every single diamond that is located, traded, exchanged between individuals has a different value. At the end of the day, a diamond that to one person may just be flawed, worthless, imperfect, to another person is a magnum opus. It's a give and take. It's a personal benefit. It's a personal loss, whatever it may be. But we've standardized and just created a ratio of how people can be happy. If someone is working 2 minimum wage jobs say 725, 750 an hour. Before taking out taxes, before doing any other math or accounting for anything else, to make, and this is just an example, I am not trying to target, I am not trying to have any negativity in this regard. For an individual working 2 minimum wage jobs just to keep their head above water, just to survive, it will take, on average, 100 lifetimes of work to make what Tim Cook makes in a year. And yes, credit where credit is due. Tim Cook has driven Apple forward. Apple, in my opinion, has created an outstanding product for the world. They have driven technology forward. They have encouraged competition, and they have made everyone grow because of it. That is a phenomenal and remarkable thing. But does any, not Tim Cook, any single individual, any entity on this planet, what are you going to do with $75 million a year? Answer that question for me. What can anyone do with that amount of money? It seems obscene. Money nowadays is an expression of will, it's an expression of power. It is an individual exerting themselves. That's all that money is. It's artificial. At the end of the day, yes, the argument can be made that money is a representation of the mental capacity of an individual because of how online and how technologically focused the world is. And, fair enough. I remember, I don't know how long ago anymore, time doesn't make sense. It's not linear anymore to me. However long ago it was, someone made the comment, or a United Nations meeting happened, whatever it was, and somewhere along the line someone said it's like Elon could single-handedly end world hunger. And if I remember this correctly, he said, okay, give me a plan, I'll sell the shares, and I'll do it. And no one came up with anything. No one presented anything. Is that not insanity? First off, the fact that a single individual has the capacity to do that, I think is insanity. It just is. Because at the end of the day, these are individuals who, for lack of better phrasing, rule the world. And yet, they are flesh and blood the same way that you and I are. They are flesh and blood, they experience the world, and they do things in the day-to-day. They work their job the same way that you and I do. But the compensation is different. Again, I want to be very transparent here. I am not being negative. I am not trying to call out. I am not trying to attack anyone. I am making an observation. Especially in the United States, the culture and our society is now effectively built on wasting time. It is of consumption. It is of get, use, destroy, dispose. And we think we're so high and mighty for it. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. It's insanity. Where I'm trying to go with this is we, as a society, as a species, are making life very hard on other people for a very temporary gain. And in some capacity, every loss from that stress, from making it harder on others, every loss is a benefit to someone else. And I know that sounds terrible, but it's true. Think about it. You watch a car accident happen in front of you. Someone just blows a red light and hits another vehicle, smacking the driver's side door. Straight into the B pillar. Consider for a second how many parts now need to be gotten. How much time now needs to be taken in order for that vehicle to be repaired. What place in the queue do they fall? Is the estimate, 2 weeks, or is it 2 years to get those parts? Think about how many different locations around the world those parts come from. Think about how long it takes for that material to be harvested, refined, shaped, and shipped. All because of negligence. And there's already exponential money that needs to be made up there in order for that part. Instead of putting out a new vehicle, now that company has to take resources away from putting out a better product, from whatever it may be. They're taking resources away to accommodate for someone else's mistake, for someone else's error. Now think about the insurance. In one capacity, one of those two parties will be found at fault. The insurance pays. Because that individual is at fault, the insurance has to pay out anywhere from a few thousand to a brand new vehicle. So you're talking, from $2,000 to $50,000. That expense, someone else's negligence, that cost is now filtered down to the rest of us. Because as a company, that insurance company still needs to be profitable, still needs to make money. And it happens like that with every mistake. Now think about the hospital. Someone's put in the hospital because of that accident. How long are they there? How much debt are they going to be in? How much of it will insurance cover? Again, insurance argument. And the rest of us who have done nothing wrong are paying for other people's incompetence, for other people's negligence, and for other people's lack of care for others. Whether we directly have to pay out of pocket for that individual directly to, or indirectly, we are still paying for it. People are online more, so there's just more and more advertising. The amount of time and everything that takes to shoot an ad, to provide an ad, to put it on a website, and then counteract that with people who use ad blockers. So revenue is lost, so they have to make it up somewhere else. It's this infinite cycle. It happens every single day. Look up the statistics. Look up how many people around the world, in the US, wherever you want to pick. Even pick a state. Pick a city. Look up how many car accidents happen. How many people get shot or are killed in some capacity or another. It's endless. And the only reason that it's this infinite cycle is because, again, all of us down here, where we just have to shovel it for everyone up top, we're the sandbox. We're the playground for other people to see. It's like, oh, if we make this adjustment, how are our numbers affected? All of it is about the numbers. All of it. And it always is. I started this one place and I want to bring it back around to try and close out my point here. We have children, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds who are on the internet, and yes, there's YouTube Kids, they're still on normal YouTube. Yes, there's a kid version or whatever it is, accounts for social media platforms with parental controls on them. The ease to get around that is obscene. The age at which someone can make their own account and not be affected by parental controls is just getting lower because we're being encouraged to burn our time, to have the younger generation be here. It's it's ridiculous. Think about it this way. If you are a parent listening to this right now, and you have given your child, anywhere from the range of 4 to 12 years old, if you have given your child a smart device, and they peruse YouTube and go on social media, whatever it is, every single ad that you see, that you just ignore or brush off, it's like, oh, this is an inconvenience, oh, get out of my face. They are seeing it, and they are seeing the picture-perfect individual, or they are seeing the sponsored content from one of their favorite creators, and now they are idolizing and continuing on that path. And that is, they're being conditioned, simply put. When I go to the mall, why are there 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds in full sportwear? I don't even know the brand because it's everywhere. The ads are being targeted younger and younger so that younger and younger we can have individuals conditioned to spend their money to do this on a very routine basis, on a consistent basis, and on very, very specific things. And I know this sounds harsh, and I know this just may sound ridiculous to some people, but this is the truth of the matter. That is what advertising is. Every time that a creator or an advertisement comes up, and they fit into choose group, select group of your choosing, literally select group of your choosing, they are targeting towards that group. That product is now associated with that group in some capacity. And the advertisement is saying, hey, you match with them in some capacity. You relate to this individual in some capacity. We, quote, also support them. Okay. We also support them, so you should get our product instead of the other one. Again, am I the only one that finds this insane? I don't spend a lot of time on the internet. I don't have social media platforms because when I go on these platforms, it's draining. It's exhausting. I see news, I see this and that, and I leave feeling worse than when I got on there. And it's easy to feel bad. It's easy to hate. It's easy to be angry, which is why it happens, which is why it's continually done. And simply put, I have legitimately in my life stopped going to specific locations. And at the end of the day, I spend more time inside, reading, focusing on myself, whatever it may be, because I go outside and so many things are just pushed in my face, and I come back and I am more depressed. I have to look at the news or see the other car accident that happened today at the same intersection where it always happens for the same reason. And it's depressing. It genuinely is, because people do not learn. No one learns these days, it seems. And I know that's completely hypocritical to what I said earlier, because everyone is learning by being online. And yes, that's true, but we are not learning the things that we need to. We are not teaching the right or appropriate things that we should be to the next generation. I know this could probably be classified or broken down into just, oh, look at this guy, he's ranting because he wants to complain about something. And, if you have that perspective, you're right. If you want to have the perspective that I am just complaining about something, you are right, because if I try and argue with you, nothing that I can say will change your mind. But I'm sharing this and I'm trying to draw attention to it because it is real life. Because it is actually going on. I'm not trying to complain. I'm baffled. I'm confused. I'm overwhelmed at I'm overwhelmed as to the fact that as a society we've let it get here because of our own egos, because we focus on ourselves. I know my last video I was talking about an interstellar philosophy, and one of the things that I remember seeing recently is how individuals who think outside of Earth, look to the stars, look to space, and seek to understand more out there, I don't want to say intrinsically have a broader mind, because that sounds egotistic, but the thing that I saw said something to that effect. Anyways, when you start looking outside of yourself, when you start looking outside of this rock that we are on, the general thing is that ego, pride, and jealousy don't make sense. They make no sense. And to me, at least, they don't. I don't insert myself into an equation, ever. My job in and of itself is a selfless position. I don't work for myself. I work because that role needs someone to do things a very certain way. I have never invested in myself because I never understood the point of just having things. It's never made sense to me. And at the end of the day, part of my frustrations with advertising is because I know they rely on people's jealousy. It's like, oh, someone else has that, so I want it. Again, it's one of the reasons that social media is so popular, because you see someone else with the nice Mercedes, or the fancy Tesla, or the Lexus, or whatever it is. Take your pick. It doesn't have to be cars. Cars are just the one constant that we see every single day. And someone else has a response of, it's like, oh, I either like that person or I hate that person, but that part I want, I need. And then it drives an individual to work to earn that. And at the end of the day, yes, if that is something that will make an individual happy, if you as a person, if grinding and working your butt off pushes you to get that nice fancy car that you really want, I encourage, implore, and want you to do that. As long as you are doing it for you. Not to be like someone else or not to try and have something up on someone else. But because you want that. Because at the end of the day, that's all that truly matters in our current lives. What will fulfill our lives. Not what will give us a temporary happiness, but at the end of the day, think about when you're 85 years old, have kids, have grandchildren, and you're reflecting back on your own life. Look at all the decisions that you've made, even right now. Look at the decisions that you have made to get you to where you are. Are you proud of that? Was that you pushing and motivating yourself, or was that you doing something because you wanted to seem superior to someone else? I want anyone who can hear this, take a look at yourself, take a look at your life. Do you have control over this? Do you have control over yourself? And if the answer is no, then break it down. Why not? What can you do to get that control? To have that confidence and that comfort? Every single one of us, everyone who can hear this, every child that's born, every middle-aged adult going through their midlife crisis, take your pick, every single one of us has an incredible amount of potential. And every single one of us deserves the opportunity and the chance to follow that potential. And yet, 99.9% of us are held back from being able to achieve that potential for completely ridiculous reasons. I remember hearing a story of how at a school, at an institution where students should be the priority, that a group of teachers was given an assignment and they were expected to complete it by a certain date. Well, sorry. But they were given an assignment with an expected due date. Teachers tried, and they just kept missing one piece. They were trying to figure it out, so one of them went back to the supervisor that had assigned it. And they said, we're trying to get here, but we don't have, component. We don't have fill in the blank. And the supervisor just handed them that component. And they said, I wanted to see how long it would take for you to come back around to ask for it. That doesn't help anyone. That is an active detriment, not just to the teachers who are working on that, not just to the individuals who are actually putting in work and effort to try and make things better, but it's a detriment to the kids now. Because think about it. Now those teachers are more stressed or resentful or fill in the blank. And in some capacity or another, that will impact the teaching experience that they will be able to provide to your students, to your kids. There are people who are truly passionate about teaching the next generation, educationally, however it may be. I have a friend from college who they're incredibly passionate. They want to teach elementary school kids. They want to see them grow up and mature and, be knowledgeable and actually be able to do something. And they were let go from their job because their peers, the teachers around them, felt threatened by that individual's work ethic. Because they went above and beyond, because they did more than what was asked of them. Someone make that make sense to me. Someone has excelled, put in more than enough time and effort in an area that they are passionate, they are invested, and they have been kicked down for it. They have literally been fired from their job for caring about their job. It's it's completely ridiculous. It's obscene. It's insulting. And at the end of the day, everything we're doing right now in the world encourages it in some capacity. Part of me has always really wanted to truly understand and know what drives and encourages any individual to do the things that they do on a day-to-day basis. Positively, negatively, stupidly, intelligently. What I would give to actually live a one-to-one life of someone else for a day, with all of their memories, all of their experiences, to truly understand what someone else has gone through to put them where they are today. I would love to experience that. And I don't say that in an intrusive or in a crude or offensive way. I say that in a way of, by understanding that, by truly understanding someone else's entire life and why they make the decisions they do, it can only help me grow. It can only help everyone else get better. And not this current, everyone puts on, their best face, takes, that perfect picture and puts it online, or posts a video to present this image of themselves so that other people like them more, or whatever it may be. No, the true, authentic, one-to-one individual. At the end of the day, we all go home, take a shower, use the bathroom, brush our teeth. It's everything that people don't see that helps define who we are as individuals. So much of my mindset comes from an existentialist point of view. Every single day, I'm asking, why am I here? Why? What is the point of even me existing? Why do I exist? What is my purpose here? And at the end of the day, the only solution that I have come to is the fact that my purpose is to try and bring all of us back to where we should be. Bring us back to the stars. And not physically bring us back to the stars, but the entire way. Connect each and every single one of us back to the stars in the way that we always should have been. meant for so much more than what we're doing right now. And so many people think that living in a palace, driving a fancy car, and being the center of attention is the best thing ever. I personally wish for nothing more than to be able to discover the universe segment by segment at my own pace. I would love to spend the eons discovering and learning about what our universe actually is, what's beyond our universe. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds, but right now we have the chance to do something about it. We have the chance to actually define and craft that. We have the chance to add and have influence on what that is. And right now we're just letting everything take its course, and we're just going, all right, whatever happens, happens. I think a lot of us have given up. I think a lot of us have just accepted, consciously or unconsciously, that this is the way the world is. So we just shrug our shoulders and let it be. We just say, okay, well, whatever. We have the ability to do so much more than we are. We're not even a Type 1 civilization. Well, I have to end this at some point. I've just been kind of rambling on for a while. If anyone has stayed until the end, I genuinely appreciate it. All of these thoughts, this entire segment, I don't even have a timer running. I don't know how long it's been. This is just my mind. You're listening to my mind. Just all day long. This is me just existing on the day-to-day. Trying to work, trying to go through and figure out things the same as you. And I'd be willing to bet that there's a lot of people like me in the same situation. So genuinely, if you are still here, thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. And I hope, as a species, we can evolve and grow.